Have you ever faced a problem that was so urgent and so personal that you couldn't wait for someone else to solve it? I have, and that's how I became a changemaker. My name's Denise Woodard, and I'm the founder and CEO of Partake Foods. But before that, I was simply a mom to a 1-year-old that was newly diagnosed with food allergies. I remember that day in the allergist's office like it was yesterday. She rattled off a list of simple foods, tree nuts, eggs, corn, and bananas, that could prove deadly for my sweet 1-year-old daughter, Vivian. As a first-time mom, and as someone who had never dealt with food allergies, I was immediately overwhelmed. I started to think of questions like, well, what is she gonna eat? And will she be able to enjoy birthday celebrations? And will she be able to enjoy the simple experience of sharing snacks with friends? I started to scour grocery store shelves, looking for safe and delicious options, and everything that I found was full of sugar, artificial ingredients, or frankly tasted like cardboard. And that is when I also learned that toddlers are brutally honest food critics. At the time, I was a sales executive at Coca-Cola. Armed with a decade of CPG experience, which proved just enough to be dangerous, I was equal parts determined, naive, and optimistic that I could create a meaningful solution for the millions of families like my own that were navigating life with food allergies. I didn't have a background in food operations or manufacturing. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't have any big name connections. But what I did have was the experience and knowledge that I'd gained over my decade-long career, a modest savings account, and most importantly, a problem that I was so passionate about solving. In 2016, I took my simple idea, allergy-friendly cookies made with real ingredients, to a local pitch competition, and I won. And then shortly thereafter, I launched a Kickstarter campaign that finished in the top 1% of food campaigns on the platform at the time. My boss at Coca-Cola, while very supportive, also made it very clear, once you've got an actual product, you've got to hit the road. The winnings from the pitch competition, the momentum from the Kickstarter, and the nudge from my boss were the push that I needed to leave my stable career. It seemed like my company and concept were taking shape. I was getting great consumer feedback, I was gaining regional distribution, but what I didn't realize was that growth costs money. I maxed out my credit cards, I emptied my 401k, I sold my engagement ring and then I heard 86 no's before receiving our first investment. 86 times that I was rejected, 86 times that I heard no, not right now, or there's no way this is ever gonna work. But here's what I've learned about glass ceilings. They're meant to be shattered, not stared through. A truth about entrepreneurship that no one ever told me was, you build the plane while you're flying it. I've made way too many mistakes to ever count. I tried to create our first formula in our kitchen. That was a complete disaster. Our first packaging was totally wrong. Our initial distribution strategy was literally me selling cookies out of my car. But with each setback came growth. And what I learned was I wasn't just growing and building a company, I was building myself, becoming more confident, more resilient, and more determined with each challenge. I remember cold calling contract manufacturers while my daughter napped. I remember doing demos and local trade shows every single weekend of the year, working 7 days a week, sending Ziploc bag samples to retailers, hoping and praying that they would give my brand a chance. And it was those humble beginnings that taught me the value of resourcefulness and grit. My breakthrough finally came when Marcy Venture Partners, a venture capital fund co-founded by Jay-Z, invested in Partake's seed round of funding. And doors that were closed so shut began to creak open. But the success brought a new realization and responsibility. As the first Black woman to raise $1 million for a food startup, I understood that my journey just wasn't about selling cookies anymore. It was about visibility and representation. It was about showing women, especially women of color, that they too belonged in boardrooms, that their products belonged on the shelves of national retailers, and that they belonged at the helm of multi-million-dollar companies. And That's why we created the Black Futures in Food and Beverage program, providing fellowships and mentorships to students from historically Black colleges and universities. It's why we prioritize diverse hiring strategies and partnering with minority-owned suppliers. Because breaking glass ceilings means nothing if you don't help others climb the ladder. Today, Partake can be found in over 18,000 retail doors across the country. I've raised over $30 million in outside capital. We have an incredible women-led team and women-led board, and what matters most isn't the number of snacks we've sold, but instead the number of lives that we've positively impacted. My journey has taught me that the intersection of purpose and perseverance is where the magic happens. When you're driven by something bigger than yourself, rejection becomes redirection. And each of us in this room have problems to solve, glass ceilings to break, and ladders to climb. And your humble beginnings, whatever they may be, are not limitations, but instead firm foundations. So I urge you, solve the problem that keeps you up at night, embrace the learning curve, persevere through the no's, and as you're baking through, remember to reach back and pull others up alongside you, because success isn't just about how high you climb, it's about how many people you bring with you for the journey. Thank you.